Hi, everybody. My name is Piyush Parikh. I'm with Equinox Agents. Thanks so much for listening in today and joining. Over the next 15 to 20 minutes, what I'd like to do is share with you a process of how to double your free trial conversion rates using proactive chat. Now, the company that I'm with is Equinox Agents. That's the company I co-founded, and we provide chat support for software companies. That's what we do. That's the only thing we do is chat support, and we provide a combination of the humans and software to help software companies double their conversion rates from the website to free trial, and then from the free trial to a paid, and then during the paid, make sure that they stay with you on an ongoing basis. So helping the software company throughout the journey that they take, that their customers take with them. And so we provide the agents that help on that part. And what I'd like to share with you today is some of the things that we've learned as we've helped several software companies. So just real quick about us, we primarily focus on chat, like I said, and we do proactive support, proactive chat. And I'll explain to you what proactive is versus the reactive side. We're B2B focused, and so that's what gives us the added advantage of going deeper with software companies who are looking to improve their conversion rates and also make sure that their customers stay with them. We've been in business for several years, completed over 1 million chats, and with a high customer satisfaction score. So we really focus our efforts on making sure that customers have a great experience with the software, and that that they're getting the full value of the software. We've ourselves have grown significantly over the last few years, and we're not a software ourselves, but we are a service and software combination, a package that we provide to customers, and we can work with any software program that's out there. And I'd like to show you some examples in this video of what we've used and how we've been able to help companies improve their overall customer engagement. So some of the customers that we've worked with in the past few years, Infusionsoft, WebPT, some of these are the larger SaaS companies that we've worked with, and some of the smaller ones as well, plus this Revolution Parts. And we've kind of shown this to be consistent across any size platform. So whether you're starting off in a software company, kind of growing your customer base, all the way to somewhat mature companies, this works in all places. And this is the current state of where folks are at in terms of providing support. So here are the three things, and I can give you a lot more background about us, but here are three things that we've learned after helping SaaS companies deliver over 1 million chats or conversations. And the first thing we've learned is on scaling support. One of the things that people quickly get connected to or realize or bump into when they're growing their SaaS business is their support side starts to get really kind of the bottleneck. And so you're bringing on all these new customers and you're trying to support them now. And how do you scale that? So, we get really focused in on growth and on getting new customers, but how do we, SaaS is all about continuously keeping customers, and it's a software, it's a service that you're providing, right? You've got a software, but it's actually a service because you want them to stay month on month. So how do you scale the support side? Support provides you with all of those ongoing basis, making sure that customer gets the full value. And so what we found, and this talk is more about the free trial conversion rate, but this is kind of applicable here on you have certain things that you need to put in place in terms of support for your free trial process, for your actual software once they purchase. And how do you do that having your support team that you have, a limited team that you may have on staff. And we've seen that if you dedicate the phone and chat agents, kind of keep them separate, that gives you the best opportunity to scale your support. And some things that you learn, you may or may not be at this point yet, but something you learn is having an external team handle chat and the tier 1 pieces while the internal team handles phone. That seems to be the best way to segment and grow your support infrastructure. And so I'll kind of quickly go through these, making sure that you train your users to use chat more. And that's kind of what this whole thing is about. How do you get more people to get more value out of your software? Well, it's obviously onboarding is one piece. But once they onboard, once they start using it, whether it's onboarding for free, when the free trial, or onboarding once they pay, once they onboard, how do you keep them? Well, you've got to make sure that they use it. Usage is a big deal. And so how do you make sure your customers use the software? And that's done by proactively reaching out to them while they're in the software. So making a phone call to them proactively is just not, that doesn't work as well. Imagine you're typing something, you get a call saying, hey, how's it going? Do you need some help? It's a lot more seamless when you are in the application itself. You're kind of trying to do things, and something pops up and helps you through the process. Now, I'll show you some examples of how that works. This is how you get from 5,000, maybe even fewer if you may be just starting out, but 5,000 conversations to 30,000 conversations per month. How do you scale that? Or from 500 to 1,000 or 10,000? How do you scale that? That's kind of what I'm kind of showing you. The second thing we've learned is about AI, and we've kind of termed our own thing called AI squared, which is actual intelligence plus artificial intelligence. It takes the actual intelligence to actually train AI bots and so on. There's still, AI is getting there, but it's still not quite self-learning as you might like it to kind of help your customers through the journey. It may be able to, AI may be able to help with some easy things, but when it comes to more complex items, it's a little harder to have it learn by itself. So it takes actual intelligence, like the things that I'm going to show you here, to actually train your bots that can finally help you scale your support. So we've learned that it takes a combination of both to make this happen. And proactive works. I mean, that's kind of one of the things that I want to show you here of why proactive support, proactive chats in your app get you to the results that you're looking for. Here are the stages of of a visitor or of a customer that goes through their journey. They come to your website before even buying anything. They may sign up for a free trial. Most of the people have a free trial now. If you don't, they may jump directly to buying the core product. You then try to get them to use more of the product, or maybe even sell them some additional services that may help, value-added services. And then if they don't get the full value of it, they cancel. And so this is kind of at the high level here, the stages. And at every stage, we track certain metrics. So you have the visitor to free trial conversion rates, the free trial to core conversion rates, the usage scores, your value-added service conversion rates, and then your cancel rates, your churn rates. And so you're looking at all of these metrics, and where proactive works and what we've seen is, this is an example where we've had a customer decrease their cost of acquisition, CAC cost of acquisition by 25% using proactive, and increase their lifetime value by 20%. And if you imagine what this would mean, if you combine the two, lower the CAC by 25%, increase LTV by 20%, that's 5 to 6 times growth in terms of your overall bottom line. And so you're not spending as much on acquiring new customers, and they're increasing their lifetime value, 20%. So that's a pretty big increase when you combine the two. So it's incremental improvements through these stages that decrease costs and increase LTV. So to decrease the costs, you normally do that on the website conversion rate, the free trial conversion rate. To increase LTV, you do it by usage and these kinds of metrics on the right-hand side here. So the proactive conversations that we have at each of these stages is what drives these numbers. So having proactive conversations on the website, you see these pop-ups that come up with chat. Well, it's not just, hey, chat, how can I help you? That's not proactive. I mean, that kind of is, but it's just, that's a very, how can I help you? That's still waiting for someone to ask a question, and your visitor is like, okay, now I have a question, I'm going to ask something. And that's reactive. You need to have that. If you don't have that, you should, at least have a chat on there. But this is, this talk is assuming you have some software that you're looking at. You've got some support in place, some SaaS software, some support in place, some in terms of phone and chat. And, this is moving one step beyond, not only reactive chat, but proactive. And so the big players in the software world now, or the more, progressive software companies, are adopting proactive pretty quickly. And so having proactive conversations on the free trial, which is what I'm going to show you what this talk is about, is how do you, double this number for you. Having proactive support, during the actual usage, and I'll show you examples of that. Having proactive consults to help them during certain parts of their journey as they're using the software pop up and say, hey, I think you can really make use of this one specific value-added service, seeing where you're at in your journey with us. That significantly increases their adoption rate of tools that you may have or other services. And then proactively, you're not waiting for them to call and say, I want to cancel, and then saying, hey, let me save you. It's knowing much ahead of time, the probability that they will cancel. So that's kind of what we call bells of churn. And, there are certain factors that will alert us to say these customers have a high propensity to cancel or could cancel in the next 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months. Let's reach out to them before they even get there. So, reducing your churn rate using proactive. So again, I'm talking a lot about proactive here, and let me just jump right into showing you what kinds of effects we've seen because of proactive. And so on the website, I'm going to show you the left-hand side. So I'm going to show you these two here in this talk, and there's much more to show on the other side, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that here. So on the left-hand side, you got the website visitors where you have proactive conversations. You're trying to reduce your cost of acquisition. And you can see the visitor to lead conversion rates, going from 0.2%. So imagine you have 1,000 visitors coming to your website a month. You'll have, let's say, 2 leads that come out of this. And now you have, 10 leads coming out of this because of the proactive nature of what you're offering, just by doing proactive. And then your conversion rate from visitor leads to customers, that's what this shows. And this is just an example, but let's say you got, for every 1,000 customers, or maybe every 10,000 visitors, you're getting 3 customers. Now you're getting, for every 10,000 visitors, you're getting 20 customers, right? So it's a significant, like a 10x increase in the number of customers you can get from doing proactive. So using the same number of visitors, much more growth in your leads and customer acquisition when you're doing proactive conversation. So that's just gives you an example of what is possible with proactive. And I'll show you the same thing on the free trial piece. Now on the proactive, just to complete this part, how do we get this to jump here? We have something called account-based prioritization, and I'll show you what that is as an example. Profile conversation starter. So I'll know it's not just, hey, I'm here to, what can I help you with? It's, I've profiled you, I know who you are, and I'll show you some examples. And I've seen what you're doing, I've seen your visitor profile, and I'm going to now show a specific text message to you that will relate to where you are in your current even journey of evaluating us. There's qualified lead filtering, so we can qualify you as part of this, and then I can schedule calls right away without wasting too much time, so that it shortens the life cycle or the the sales cycle from visitor to actually getting on a sales call. So all of these factors can help having a chat that's proactively programmed to convert your visitors. And again, I'll show you some of these things. I'm just giving you a high level. This is on the free trial. This is what the topic is for the conversation today. But on the free trial, having a proactive conversation, that influences the cost of acquisition again. But before, so let's say you just have a chat in your free trial, or you have the walk me part that says bubble, and it kind of says, hey, do this first. How many times have you gone there and just said, go away, let me just see what I'm doing first, and I don't need all these bubbles. So let's say you have the walk me kind of piece here at 6% with our proactive, or with a proactive engagement process, you can double that, and I'll show you what that means. And we've consistently delivered that with customers. What we've seen is on average, 25% of visitors use chat. That's just what we've seen from all the customers we've done, all the million chats we've taken. 25%. If we didn't have chat, and from not having chat to having chat, it's 25%. And then it goes up even more if you do proactive, because proactive, we're actually reaching out to customers, and not all of them may engage with us, but we are still reaching out to all of them. But it's 25% of them are interested in talking to someone right away and not interested in making a phone call. So most people say, hey, yeah, call us if you have anything, or let me schedule a call with you for 30 minutes and walk you through the whole thing. That's fine. It works. You got to do some of that, but a lot more effective on both sides for you and your customer on having a chat in there that pops up and someone's sitting there, looking for having that making that happen. And the things that we do for proactive, how do we measure and make sure that we're reaching to the right people? It's using, minimal setup targeting and minimal usage targeting. And what that means is we identify what are the minimal things you need to do in the free trial to make sure that you will convert. So the chance of you converting to a paid is something we evaluate and say, well, if you did step 1, 2, 3, and 4, we know you will purchase this. We've seen that with 500 past customers. So if you've only done 1, 2, and 3, we will proactively come in there and tell you, hey, complete 4, and I'll show you an example of that. So that's minimal setup targeting, and minimal usage targeting is kind of the same concept, but it's how much have you used the tool, how much data do you have in there, is it actually making a difference on the free trial? And if it is, then the chance of you converting is very, very high. So based on those factors, we have our agents who are waiting, looking at your data and doing the chat. We have them evaluate who's there on the website currently and pop up a message that says, hey, take the next step. And let me jump into an example of that. So I'll show you some examples, but just one last thing on the actual mechanics of this. We segment people based on their visitor profile, on their free trial usage profile, and other similar visitor data. So what that means is you got 3 sets of data, 3 data sets. One is your visitor profile, like how often you've come to this page, how many times you've logged in, how long you've stayed on each page, and so on. So that's visitor, very typical visitor profile. The free trial usage profile is how many steps have you completed. So visitor profile is pretty easy to get from any tool out there, Google Analytics or any such tool will give you the visitor profile. The usage profile is more specific to your software. Like most people calculate, hey, how many times they've logged in, let's say how many users they've set up, how many contacts they have. It depends on the software, but it's how well they've used the tool. And this is, we call it a usage value. And if you don't have that, you should look at creating a usage parameter or a usage score. So the free trial usage score is what we look at here. And then other similar visit data, meaning what have other people in this same boat done to make the conversion, right? So to get the likelihood of having the conversion, what have other people done? And we try to identify and say most, 90% of people who converted have done steps 1, 2, and 3. And given that, we will then evaluate and put it against what you have actually done. And if you've only done 1 and 2, we will push you to do number 3. So I hope that makes sense. And the conversation then that you have proactively is, I know the likelihood of you converting is really high since I've seen that you've done 1, 2, and 3. You need to do 4. So let me talk to you about number 4, right? And then I say, hey, look, others have done this and got great results. You should do this too. And I'll show you an example of how we do that. And optionally, this is a little more advanced, but optionally, if we know the color of the visitor, which is, it's more of a personality kind of thing that I'm getting into here. What's your learning style? What's your communication style? Do you want to be taught something, or do you want to be, do you want someone else to just do it? And some of those things can be brought out based on their conversation style in the past. So there are tools out there that can evaluate, hey, what's your personality style based on how you talk and how you've been interacting with us before. That's a little more advanced. It has that slight edge of pushing you a few more percentage points for conversion. But again, that's optional. That I wouldn't go there if you've not done any of these, and got your baseline data. So that's just giving you, this, we can push this pretty far, really communicate with you. This is custom communication on a mass scale. Like that's kind of what we're trying to do. Make it very personalized, have a conversation with you, not just generic, hey, here, do this, and everyone does this. So it's a bot, but it's personalized conversations, but on a mass scale. So here's an example. Let me just a few more minutes here, but let me jump into some examples. Here's an example of a chat system we use. It's called Pure Chat, and basically it allows us to, this is the back end. So this is a visitor looking at a company. We have MagnaWave is the name of the company that we're doing chat for, and we can see the visitors, how often they've come. So this is the visitor profile, right? And then I can see where they came from, and I can have other things over here that are connected, other filters and other things that I can look at and say, just going back to how much have they used it. So with the free trial, what the usage has been. and I can kind of sort this in that way, and then I can click on that and start the chat. That's proactive, right? Now, some people say, hey, this is too manual. I don't have time to sit and do this and watch all this stuff, and can't a bot do this? And yes, a bot could do it after you've gone through this yourself to see what actually works and not. Putting a bot right away and just saying, hope this works, is not the best strategy. It takes some effort to do this manually and see what actually engages people before programming the bot. You can always program the bot, but this is where you really get an idea of how this really works. So this, you pop it up, you can send a custom message. Hey, I see you're reviewing this machine. Would you like to have some descriptions about it? Or this is more of the visitor to trial kind of conversion that we're trying to do here on a proactive basis. But this could work in a free trial as well. I see that you're doing something. Would you like some more information about it, right? And so that gives a very detailed, and we get a great engagement rate when we do this. Some other ways that we look at, once we engage with them, I get a lot more details. Hey, it looks like these guys are from the UK. They've visited these other pages. Then the other things down here, they are a blue. They don't like to, they've done a couple of trials. They've completed steps 3 and 4. So now I'm talking to these, reading this stuff and saying, I think you should, do some more, or here's another article that you can put, or don't forget to finish this, and so on. So you can really get creative here and really engage personally with these guys. Here's another example. This is a Drift. This is a software tool called Drift, and here they call it account-based marketing, and it's a pretty cool thing where they can tell. This is again visitors from a visitor to your free trial, but I can see which company they came from, when they visited, and a little bit more detail about the company itself, and which is really cool, because if you have a visitor coming to your website, you actually don't know who they are, right? You might know the location, but this software can actually go back using the IP, tell you which company it is with a very high likelihood. And so if you have, this works really well for some companies. There's a company called Revolution Parts that we work with, and they target car dealerships. That's their target market, and they provide software for car dealerships. And they have a list of all of their car dealerships that are on their target market, about 10,000 or 15,000. We uploaded all 15,000 into this system, and anytime someone from that car dealership comes in and visits or looks at the software, or comes in and is part of the free trial, this thing pops up, puts them in a high priority, and I can start talking to them. And it shortens the sales cycle significantly, and it's a lot more effective in getting conversions. Here's another example of a free trial. So this is another tool. It's called Wicked Reports, and they have this is part of the free trial. So when I sign up for the free trial, I have to do some connections. So it's a dashboard database system, SaaS company, and I have to connect different things. So these are all the steps that I have to go through to connect the contacts. These are orders. I've got to connect all of these things, and then advertising. I have to connect all this. Only once I connect all of these will I get the best result of this software. And so if I haven't completed something, the person it's not going to, it gives me partial data, or if I'm having trouble connecting something, I'm more likely to not continue with the software, because I'm like, this data is not working. I'm not getting much out of this. But if I do connect at least, so that their minimum requirements are, you need to connect at least one of each of these columns and all 3 of these. The more of these you connect, the better, but they say all 3 of these. Now, they've even further delineated this to say at least one here, and one here. And that one should be Google. So at least get these 3, and then the rest can be optional. And if they do that, connect these, the likelihood of them buying this software, Wicked Reports, is much, much higher. And so, here's an example. We pop up and say, hey, I noticed you haven't yet connected your Google Analytics. Do you need help with it? You'll get much better view of your stats if you do connect it. The text can be varied. You can change it up, but we're standing by and can set it up for you if you like. So, I'm here, I'm fiddling around, and I'm busy, and this comes up and says, oh, okay, yeah, why don't you just do this for me? Thanks. And then they get it done. and the chance of you converting there is much, much higher. Engaging here is much higher, and not just saying, hey, can I help you with something? No, I'm going to help you with the thing that will really make these results come out. So that's kind of an example. Just one quick thing before I wrap here. Overall, what we've seen, here's a report. Totango did a survey of over 1 million SaaS customers, and they said, what was the main reason you canceled or didn't move from a free trial to a paid? The number one reason was usage. This is the correlation coefficient. So meaning, there's 70% correlation between the usage and their churn, 60%, 50, and so on. But a high number of people didn't use it, and that's why they canceled. The second most reason is the NPS score, which is it just didn't deliver the value that the software did. Even after they used it and all that, it just didn't deliver. It wasn't that great of a software. Number three was support. They didn't get the support they needed. They would have got the value. They would have used it, but they just need some help, and they didn't get it, right? This is value-added service. So they did great. They got some support, but just the server, they needed more help to get things put together, and they just didn't have time outside this current software, and the value-added services was not provided to them. They didn't get adequate training. That's another thing that's on the onboarding. If you didn't do a good job onboarding, that could result in churn. And fit. This is one that's, they shouldn't have even been a customer in the first place. The company's too small, or it's a B2B. We cater to B2C. Is just not a good fit, right? So that's kind of, that's a upfront sales kind of conversation. So you can see the drivers of churn. The support side kind of hits a lot of these parts, and that's kind of why we spent our time on providing support. And chat provides the best way to scale, is what we found. And proactive chat really delivers the conversion rates. So that's a little bit about what I'd like to share with you today. And there are some other tools that you may want to kind of look at and see how they've been implementing some of this. There's some software tools. I showed you some, like there's Pure Chat, or there could be Drift. There are certain comprehensive tools that allow you to do multiple things, like User IQ, Gainsight, that you might want to take a look at. These are much more comprehensive. They're larger, more expensive. Once you get to that level, then some of these can make sense. But even to get to this level, you need to do some trials and tests to make sure you have the communication and what actually converts. So anyway, this is a little bit about us. My name, again, I'm Piyush. I'm the co-founder of Equinox Agents. I'm based here in Phoenix, Arizona. This is my business partner, Ashwin. We have a center in India as well. And we provide, again, support services to software companies from the US and from Asia. And that allows us to do 24/7 chat support for software companies. So if you are interested in learning more about us, or would like to try us out, do give us either a call or send me an email, and we can set up a conversation to see if it's a good fit for us to kind of help you out as you go through the journey of providing and scaling your software business. I hope this has been a useful talk, and I hope you learned a little bit today. Do reach out if you get a chance, and good luck. Thanks.